I'm James Sutton. This is Road to Recovery. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and my special guest today on Road to Recovery is Nicole Gately. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, James. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad we could have this time to talk. So, Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am the clinical director at Mountain Manor in Emmitsburg. I have been working in the field for, wow, probably 27 years now. It's been a long road, but it's been an exciting road. So this is not what I thought I would be doing with my life. But when I started in school, for some reason, I actually started as a rad tech. So I was going for radiology, and somehow I ended up doing this. But over the course of time, started out slow and steady, worked my way up. And I've been with Mountain Manor for almost 18 years now. And I've been in Emmitsburg for 18 years. So as the clinical director. So it's been great.
Yes, yes. And I'm glad you didn't go with radiology because we really appreciate the work that you do. I got to share that Nicole was my boss in the first treatment center that I ever worked in. You must have been 12 then, right? Because that was like about 21 years ago.
Well, I'm not going to tell how old I am, but I was definitely new in the field, but I was not 12. But that was a different time. But I think we've both grown a lot since then. That was in Baltimore County.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. But
so that was a good foundation for me working for you because you were a good manager. And I hadn't even, as a matter of fact, while working for you, that's what made me decide to go back to school and get credentialed, while I was working for you.
So, I know back then it was in a correction setting. I feel like that was definitely a correction setting. And if you think back, James, back then, from the difference then to now, what we see, I remember back then in a treatment setting where people were being handcuffed. In treatment, they were allowed to come into treatment, and then when they weren't compliant, they were being cuffed and removed from treatment. And that's a little, I don't know if I want to say I don't know if it's necessary to do it that way. I guess for me, obviously not everybody is ready, but I think we have learned so much just in that amount of time. I don't think it's necessary. Everybody deserves a chance, an opportunity. And when people are given the opportunity, to leave treatment that way, I don't know. I learned very valuable lessons being in that setting from then until now. I'm sure you've learned many experiences as well. Very, very, very teachable moments from then until now. I'm so glad that I had those experiences, but I never want to have to go back to that again. I just think it's punitive.
Right. Yeah, we have learned a lot since then. Yeah. And but it was like building blocks in terms of our experience, because that's the first time I had an opportunity to do groups with men that were, they were really still incarcerated because that was minimum security. If a person left, I was like security, right? If a person left, I had, we put a warrant out on them, right?
Yeah.
They would be apprehended if they left treatments. And I had to operate a door with a buzzer. They were locked in there.
It is very different. And I know for myself, this is the population, those individuals that I feel like get left behind so much, James. The individuals that multi-generational, who aren't afforded opportunities, uh, crime. It's almost like learned helplessness, I guess. They're not afforded these opportunities for whatever reason. They become incarcerated, and society as a whole expects these changes to occur, but we don't provide them the necessary tools to make changes. And it's so frustrating to me as somebody in society where we expect these things to happen. Yes, an individual commits a crime, maybe they should be punished, but how are they supposed to change if we don't give them these opportunities, if we don't present anything different, and they go back into the community without the resources? It's baffling to me. So over the course of time, what I've learned and what I really instill in the individuals that I'm trying to help is there really is a different way. There is a different way. And the staff that I have here with me, we really do go out of our way to provide those services to individuals. And it really, if I had my way, I know that not everybody would agree. I really think keeping people for the longest amount of time, it's more than just whether it be 28 days. It really is it's a lifetime journey. Right. And when individuals they struggle in many different areas, when we're seeing people that have problems with health, they have problems with job readiness, they have problems with socializing, they have problems with mental health. We see people that haven't taken care of simple things, vision, their dental needs, basic care. We can't just have them here and fix all these things. Just very basic needs. It really takes time to build trust, to get them, just build up self-esteem, build relationships, very simple things. I would probably keep them here, honestly, for 18 months or 2 years if I could. I really would.
Right.
And I know that, not everybody's in agreement with that.
I am.
But to really be successful, especially with those individuals that are incarcerated or coming out of being institutionalized, we're seeing people, they are unfortunately involved with gangs or with criminal lifestyles, just to get them to drop that wall, to trust and to know that we're not the enemy, that that belief system is just so corrupted, and that people do care. It really takes time. It really takes time.
Remember, Nicole, originally treatment was the data indicated that the longer you were in treatment, the better chance you had of not relapsing. So that data hasn't been changed. It hasn't changed, because insurance runs treatment, it's because of managed, because the insurance companies dictate how long a person can have in treatment. That's kind of like why we got like a 28-day window or a 2-week window. It's not because of clinical need. I agree with you. From a person using for 15 years or 10 years, to fix them in 28 days is absurd. They're not going to be fixed in 28 days. Like you said, they have somatic issues. They may be homeless. They haven't been to the dentist, job readiness, all of that takes, some work once they trust you enough to start buying into recovery, right? So I agree with you wholeheartedly, whether it's, 18 months in one facility or a transition of, warm handoffs where they're still safe, from going back to their old lifestyle, while they're recovering. I think it's a good model.
And that's what we're trying to do. And of course, I think for all providers, it's a battle. just with meeting criteria, we're always have to, we have to justify and explain ourselves, why. But I think everybody would agree, just with the drugs that are being used, fentanyl, e- even with crack, just in the last 10 years, it's being, I can't even say anymore, just from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, before it was cocaine being cooked, now it's, I don't even know what's in it, but there is a difference. There is a difference in the population that is coming in, with their mental health, just with their needs. There truly is a difference, from where individuals were 20 years ago to 10 years ago to today. They are much sicker. The revolving door. And, for me, just in like the last 5 years, what I see, many treatment providers, there are so many treatment providers popping up. And I will say something, about Maryland treatment centers, Mountain Manor, Maryland treatment centers, longstanding, 40 years. That's a very long time.
Right.
They've been around a very long time, which is good. I see individuals seeking care, but it's like a revolving door, James. It scares me. They'll come in and, as a treatment provider, and I'm a person who speaks my mind. I say what I mean what I say, and sometimes that gets me into trouble. So I have to be careful. But as a treatment provider, and this is my thoughts, this is me speaking. I'm speaking very candidly here. Sometimes I think we as treatment providers, we become part of the problem, in a sense that, because there are all these different providers out there, individuals, it's almost like doctor shopping, in a sense. They come in. Okay, person A, John, comes into Mountain Manor. If it's not meeting their needs, and I understand we need to meet the individual where they are, but then if they're not getting exactly what they want, they leave. They go somewhere else. They don't get what they want. It's a revolving door. That's what I've noticed recently. It's just constant. That's what I'm starting to notice recently, the last couple years, the last 3 or 4 years, and individuals just constantly rotating amongst providers, which it's concerning to me as a treatment provider. Are we really providing the best care?
Right. And see, that's why I'm glad I'm speaking with you today. I'm glad we're having this conversation, because in the jail, I'm not privy to see that, landscape that you are. When I was working at Avery Road, then I could see, people going out and coming back and going out and trying another treatment center and just becoming treatment savvy and not ever recovering, right? They just program kind of like to provide housing or just to change, get an oil change. So we're going to take a break for a moment. We'll come back and we can explore that a little bit more. Thanks, Nicole.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
We're back with Road to Recovery. My special guest today, Nicole Gately. Nicole, up at New Horizon and Mountain Manor, you have so many programs. I want to start with New Horizon because there's a lot of confusion. People where I work in the jail, they said, well, I need an 8505 or 8507, but I don't know which one is which. And do I go for 6 months or do I go for 12 months? And, so can you explain the process and what is that diversion?
Okay, so Emmitsburg is, to keep it very simple, I'm going to explain it as a college campus with multiple levels of care. So really, we really are, I think of us as the elite. And I say that because we really do stand out, not only in services that we offer, but programs. So New Horizon has been operating since 2006. Since the 8507s were passed, I guess, through, Senate. It is first, the 8505 is ordered through the courts, I guess, when an inmate is going to get modified, their attorney goes in front of the judge and asks for modification. They can get an evaluation through the court system. If it gets approved, they then become an 8507. And we are participating in that. New Horizon is the program that actually gets a referral through BHA, which is behavioral health. They send the referrals, and that is for level 3.3 or 3.5. That's what the level of care is. We take men and women, but Justice Services through the Behavioral Health Administration actually makes the referral into New Horizon. And that program, obviously, depending upon the individual's needs, they can stay. We've had people stay here 9 months, 10 months, depending on what they need. But the average length of stay usually is around, 4 to 6 months, usually. Okay. And when they come in, obviously the court system's involved. So it's a transition from being incarcerated back into the community. And we have women and men. I will say this, they are getting wonderful services. And I don't just say that. There's a psychiatrist on site. There's 24/7 medical staff, which most 3.5 and 3.3, they don't have that. Because we also have 3.7 here, we have that luxury to share that medical component. So it's a wonderful thing. They get mental health therapists, also an addiction counselor. So they're seen individually by mental health, by addiction, also by psychiatry. So we're kind of tapping into everything. They're getting wraparound services. We promote 12-step all the way. We really get them connected with community as they go through phases, sponsors, really promoting outside community. I think it's so important to engage individuals in the outside, Hucklebuck, that's something we participate in, like getting these guys involved in like Dope Fiend Olympics, the Hucklebuck, things that are recovery related. We did the, recovery kickball, anything in Frederick County. We're in Frederick County, so we tend to stay in Frederick County, but really anything fun in recovery. We have a garden out here. The guys do gardening. It's really great. We're rural, so it's nice. I don't know if anybody's ever been. You've been out here, James.
Yeah, I've been out there. It's nice. Yeah, it
is. There are deer running in the field. So it's very nice. They farm. There's a pond. There's a lot of really good things that go on here. It is a therapeutic community. So, we look to the guys to, grow and also be responsible for themselves in a sense. So, that's New Horizon. We have Safe Harbor, which is also a 3-3. So they can stay same 6 to 9 months. That's women and children. So, also that's been in existence since the late 80s. So a lot of longevity there. It's very important. Women who are seeking treatment, where do they go? That's something that has always been an issue for probably for all states, not just Maryland, but a woman with a child cannot usually get treatment. And, I believe there's only 3.5s at this point, or 3.3s at this point that I know of, or 4, in the state of Maryland. So trying to get treatment as a female and have your child, it's really hard to do. So we also provide that here in Emmitsburg. We
good.
have same level of care. They're housed separately. So New Horizon is separate from Safe Harbor, but all the same services. We do the same thing. We have daycare on site. We have the same services. We have the mental health. We have the addiction component. And then, of course, we have Mountain Manor, which is a higher level of care. So that's a 3.7, and that can be driven by private insurance or Medicaid. And most people understand that as 28-day, but not in this lifetime. It's rare that people get 28 days. Again, I would keep people a lot longer than 28 days, because I think we've already said that for people who are coming into treatment and require, detoxification, we're seeing people, it's not their first time, it's usually their 5th and 6th and 7th time. They have family problems, homelessness, legal problems, social problems. It's bottom of the barrel. I mean, multi-generational. They need so much help that it's rare. When they come into Mountain Manor, we're putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. And we will be lucky if we can just get the person to agree to go to continuing care, to connect them. And right now, statistically, with Mountain Manor, 70% require housing.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. So with that being said, the number of halfway houses and recovery houses, they call them all, halfway house, recovery house, Oxford house. I really try to be involved where we're sending people. And it's very hard when you're getting those numbers. 70% is a lot.
Yeah, right.
But we're trying to make good faith effort to connect people with appropriate resources, but it's very difficult, when we're admitting, 6 people a day, and, more than half of those people require housing. It's very hard to make those connections. And again, if ACAM criteria, I'm just speaking what I'm taught to say, homelessness does not necessarily mean that the person meets the requirement to stay in treatment. That's the truth. Even though, as a human, I would never want a family member not to be able to remain in treatment, because if somebody needs to be in treatment versus be put out because they're homeless, but ACAM criteria says that is not, a means to be in a 3.7, meaning Mountain Manor. So sometimes it gets very difficult. It pulls on your heartstrings.
Sure.
It's very hard. And it's very hard too with the population, because a lot of times people come into treatment and for whatever reason, if they're not ready, and, this is one of those things, they have to be ready, but I don't know when people are ready, like to think they are, but I don't know if they're ready. So, it's a challenge sometimes, but listen, if they're coming to the door and they're saying, hey, I want treatment, we want them to come. That's what we do.
Right.
And I've seen so many people on the 3rd and 4th and 5th time, they get it.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm sure you see that too, James.
Yeah, I see it too.
So, so I just want everybody to know, because sometimes it is frustrating, and even on my side, for me and my staff, we'll see people, 4 and 5 times, and it's like, oh, not again. But it does happen, people do get better, and we see that, and that's why I do this. There is never a day. I tell, I tell the guys and girls here all the time. They're like, you're so energetic, I'm like, this isn't work to me. There is never a day that I wake up and I say, I got to go to work today.
Hey, that's a gift. That's a real gift. So, and Nicole, that's why I love you, right? So we're coming to the end, Nicole. And so did you cover all the programs? So Mountain Manor is the last one, right?
Mountain Manor is the last one. Yep.
Okay, so I want to ask you one thing, and then I want to ask you to close out with whatever your closing remarks want to be. But do you accept children's books or clothes or anything, donations for the women's program? Because at Avery Road, I used to drop off clothes for
We
women.
do.
Oh, you do? Because I got a whole
Yeah.
box of children's books.
We do. We have a daycare and we have a nursery, and we accept donations for adults and children. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Potomac Healthcare, New Horizon, and Safe Harbor are nonprofits. And some of those patients will say, "Oh, yeah, you're making so much money." No, not really. But we do accept donations.
Oh, good.
For
Okay.
the kids and for our patients. A lot of our patients don't have support. These are people who, for whatever reason, and they don't have a lot of family supports, or they're coming from being incarcerated, and they don't at this point have what they need.
Right. So we're going to have you back, but do you have any closing remarks? Do you have anything that we didn't cover that you want to be sure to share with the audience?
No, I just want to thank you for having me. And I just want to say that for people that are trying to get help, we're here. We're not going to give up on you. One day at a time. I say that all the time. I have this shirt, I made this shirt because I believe this, as long as you're showing up, I'm showing up. So, I tell my staff that all the time. Everybody here, there's a lot of longevity here. I'm very proud of that. I can't do it without the staff here. I have great staff. James, there is so much longevity here with the clinical staff. There are staff that have been here 30, 35 years, 25 years. We have a great team, and I believe it's like a well-oiled machine here. I believe God put me here for, like, when I came to Emmitsburg, I was like, where's Emmitsburg? It's great. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for sharing so much about your program and about you. So this is Road to Recovery. My special guest today was Nicole Gately, and we'll see you on the road to recovery.